Oh man, I did not want to be here. I can't believe you fucking talked me into coming on your goddamn show. This is bullshit, man. What? What do you want?
Well, yeah, I needed a guest, and you're right there, Grant, and you agreed to it. So here we go.
Okay, yeah,
Welcome. Welcome to the largest issue in the galaxy. All of the issues, all of them. I don't have a rhyme today. I didn't think of one. I'm not gonna worry about it.
I really liked. I really liked. It was AIDS to acne, and then Sean was like, you should probably say AIDS to zits, right? Because that's A to Z.
I think that was Jake.
And no, Sean said that, and it was
It was. I thought it was Nick.
Yeah. No, he said it, and it was a hilarious contrast, right? Like AIDS to zits, right? Like, both serious problems in their own right, but like the contrast was beautiful, the alliteration's appropriate, the actual what Maddox was going for in those jokes was actually achieved, which he never nailed. He never did right. He never really fully got that joke. All right, I'm sorry, I'm disrupting. So
yeah, don't worry about it. By the way, this show has nothing to do with biggest problem in the universe. By the way,
yeah,
I'm just gonna say that to the listeners.
Unrelated.
I'm your host, Riely Brooks, here with special guest, former audio engineer, Grant Lahey.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm happy to have you on. So, if you didn't already hear on Twitter, Andrew is going on a string of camping trips that is forcing him to take 3 weeks off, which means our new Let's Play channel has already hit a snag and won't have any uploads for the next 3 weeks. And he's not going to be on the podcast, so I'm going to just have a, rotating clock of guests. And
yeah, good. This week's
was...
Go ahead.
This week's was supposed to be Jason, but he just straight up ghosted me. And I said that in the Discord, and then Grant approached me, and I'm like,
that will happen. That will happen. People will bail. It's fine. It's part of podcasting, man. You gotta soldier on. But no, I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know how much intro is involved, but you kind of brought up something that I really wanted to talk about.
What would that be?
My largest issue in the galaxy.
Oh, okay. Well, we got a little bit of intro proceedings, and then if you really want to go first,
of course. No. Well, you just brought it up. What it is, I'll bring up later. But go ahead. Yes, please go ahead with the intro.
If you're hot on the button, you can go first. But first, we got to do who won last week. That's an important thing.
Please, yeah, Go ahead.
Last week, let me get the straw poll up real quick. I got it. It's not going to take 10 minutes like it usually does. I have it.
Man, do you edit these, or this is just?
Yeah, I edit these. Okay. There was a long time where it was unedited because you had ghosted us, and I didn't know how to use Audacity yet. But now, finally, that I've learned, it's
so easy, right? So easy,
yeah, it's pretty easy.
Chunk it
and
out,
I don't even go I know you go more in depth than me. I don't like editing for content a lot of the time unless there's something specific that I'm like, yeah, that needs to go away. I just cut the silence and clean up the noises and stuff.
That's really what I usually do too, unless I'm dealing with a 3.5 hour project.
Unless you're in it and you cut out half the things you say.
A 3.5 hour thing where I was just taunting people to say whatever I could get.
No, it was fine that you edited that, Grant. That's not what we were upset about. We just also wanted the uncut audio.
No, and I listened back to it. Obviously, I'm the only one with the actual audio, right? And the only thing, the whole night, I was being really ridiculous, really funny, and then Bassett is talking to me all of a sudden out of nowhere, and I didn't expect her to show up, and I was being really rude to her. Right, because I was in this.
Oh, you were rude to Bassett? How dare you?
Well, you were there. And
I don't remember that night at all. Besides the Jesse part, everything else I don't remember.
And you don't even do drugs. But I was really rude to you too. The whole thing after Jesse left which was the peak of the night, and my best case scenario to get some comedy out of it was just me being really awful to people. And I don't feel good about that. I don't want that out in the world. And like, I hope everyone knew that they were getting into that. Like, I don't know.
I was mostly salty that night. Like, I got upset with you, and I was mostly salty that night because you had me muted. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that Discord didn't tell me I was muted. So I was making so many good jokes, and nobody was responding, and I'm like, I could swear I'm funny. Why is nobody laughing?
Oh, I think you come in muted. You weren't muted for a lot of it, though. It was like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, you unmuted me eventually.
You came in like an hour and a half deep or something. They edit all this out, but I'm just saying, like, whatever. I was having a good time that night. I was baiting for audio, and I found a lot of good, terrible things. People said a bunch of weird, awful things that night, and I used the funniest bits of it. So, what are you gonna do? All right.
Yeah.
Can I bring up my issue? Who won last week?
All right. Well, last week, if you'll remember, listeners, the issues were the internet, transphobia, screaming toddlers, and capitalism.
Oh my God! All of those. Check.
And the winner with the one and only vote was capitalism. Congratulations to our special guest Ian for winning the day.
Ian vote for himself? Is that what happened?
I hope not.
I vote
he knows
for myself?
that's a rule.
How many incognito browser windows can I pull open and vote for my own?
The hosts aren't allowed to vote at all, and the guests aren't allowed to vote on the episodes that they're on.
Oh, so but how would you know?
If he did vote, well, there's no way to know. But if he comes out and
I'm gonna send this to my mom, and she'll probably vote on it. You know, my 29 sisters will probably want to vote, and then I don't know.
29 sisters.
I don't know who they'll show it to, but I'm just saying, a lot of people will probably vote for my issues. I don't want that to skew your voting.
Look, I'll just be happy that there's more than like one vote for once, even if they're all for you. I'll just be happy there was a lot of engagement.
I'll bring some listeners, buddy.
Thank you. All right, well, Grant. Usually the host goes first, but Grant is hot on the button.
No. You were saying before the show you had all these ideas for problems, and you weren't going to make them up as you went.
Exactly what I said, Grant.
If you want to go first, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the wrong episode to bring this in, because if Andrew was here, he'd probably be on my side. But you're just going to say that it's stupid. My issue is something that I brought up on Twitter today. Today there was a game conference. Some video games were announced. Some trailers came out. And one of those trailers was for Crash Bandicoot 4, the long-awaited sequel to Crash Bandicoot 3, which came out in like the 90s. They're making a true-to-form sequel called Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And yes, that is a pun. It is a game where you travel through time. And also it was 20 years coming.
No, I like that. I like when they do true-to-form. Because like, I mean, I don't want to get off of my own point, but
do
you remember the original Mario Brothers? You remember that? You jump over, get the mushrooms, right?
I do. I have played those games. Yes, I've played all of the original Marios.
And then there was a second one. Do you remember the second one?
I know about the second one.
You like float around, and it's definitely a rip off of a different game, and it's not the same game. And it's like,
do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, it's apparently a game that was popular in Japan, and they kind of just mocked it to get more sales for this.
Yeah, it was because the original Mario 2 was Mario 1, except ridiculously hard, and American audiences were known for being dumb and stupid. So they're like, we can't bring this game over. Everyone's going to hate it. So they took this other Japanese game called Doki Doki Panic, and they just slapped Mario in there.
Yeah. Okay. We're on the same page.
So yeah, Crash Bandicoot 4, that's not what I'm mad about. I'm excited for Crash Bandicoot 4.
Okay, that's what I'm saying is like, I love when they redo the game that you loved already, but it's like more levels and it's better. You know what I mean? That's what I like about video games is like, I already like this game. It's great. I already know how to play it. I could play more levels. You know what I mean? Like expand that and give me more of what I love. Don't reinvent what I fucking tried to do.
Yes, so I'm excited for Crash Bandicoot 4, but there's one aspect. Now, the original 3 Crash Bandicoot games were obviously not the only Crash Bandicoot games. They're the only ones anybody cares about anymore, besides like the 1 or 2 other ones that were good. But the 4th Crash Bandicoot game to come out was Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and people hate that game. It's not made well.
It's different,
So,
right? It's a completely different operating system. Like they're trying to make a different kind of.
Yeah, it was another console generation. This was their first game on the PS2. The original 3 were on the PS1. And they weren't made by the same. And they weren't made by the same developers.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So people hated Wrath of Cortex, but there was one thing that was introduced in Wrath of Cortex that continued throughout all the other games, and is part of Crash Bandicoot's legacy despite not being in the original 3 games. And that is the character of Crunch Bandicoot. He was the primary antagonist of the Wrath of Cortex, but he was brainwashed, and at the end he becomes Crash's friend, and then he's Crash's friend for every other game after that. And now, with some elements in Crash Bandicoot 4, Crash Bandicoot 4 seems to be, they're doing Wrath of Cortex but better, in a very general sense. It's just the main plot point, like the MacGuffin of the plot, is that there's these 4 elemental masks in Wrath of Cortex, and they seem to be returning in Crash Bandicoot 4. But what's not returning, as far as anybody can tell, is Crunch Bandicoot. My issue is how should I phrase this? They got rid of Crunch Bandicoot. How can I turn that to a good issue name?
the murder of the character.
The murder of Crunch Bandicoot.
Yes, man. The murder of. Yes, that's dramatic. That's good.
That's my issue. The murder of Crunch Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Now, I, as a kid, had one of the Crash games that most people consider not very good. Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Titans. And now I enjoy that game, but I'm pretty sure it's just nostalgia. Like I'm sure the criticisms that people say are real problems with the game, but I just don't notice them because I'm like, wow, I remember when I was 7 and played this game. I love this. And Crunch was in that game, and Crunch was my favorite character. I've always loved Crunch Bandicoot. Like, there are games that are good after the original trilogy, like the racing games, Crash Nitro Kart in particular. People love that game. And Crunch was in that game. And he was my favorite character to play as. I love Crunch Bandicoot. He's
Crunch, man. That is an atrocity.
He's a big buff Bandicoot man, and he's cool, and I like him. And they're erasing him from existence. They're pretending he never existed at all. There's a scene in the trailer there's even a scene of the trailer where they make fun of the fact there's more Crash games than the original 3. I think it's the very end of the trailer where like one of the elemental masks asks Crash and his sister Coco, how many times have you beat this guy, referring to Cortex, the primary villain, and they say 3. And then the elemental mask is like, 3? It seems like more. And then they're like, no, just 3. So they're just erasing Crunch from history, and I will not have it. I tweeted out.
Not cool. Not cool.
Hashtag justice for Crunch. Get it trending, guys. I didn't get any likes on it or anything. It was heartbreaking. Now you're listening to this podcast, just tweet out hashtag justice for Crunch. I even did a pun. It's justice the number 4 Crunch because it's Crash Bandicoot 4. Justice for Crunch. Bring him back. Bring back my man Crunch. He's been oppressed for so long. They're trying to get rid of him.
Fucked.
It's just, I understand because Crash is a character that sort of got dragged through the ringer reputation-wise. In the same way as perhaps like Sonic the Hedgehog did back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, where he just had a string of bad games with bad plots, and he just became known as that guy who used to be good, and now he's bad. And the same thing happened to Crash, to the point where the Crash Bandicoot franchise died out for like 8 years. I think Mind Over Mutant was the last Crash game before they remade the original 3 in like 2017.
What
And
is
that
he
came out
like?
in like
Is he like rapey in the games or something? Why do you think people are censoring him?
what, Crunch Bandicoot?
Yeah.
I think he's just a victim of the games that he's in because people don't like to acknowledge that there are Crash Bandicoot games beyond the original 3, and Crunch got introduced after the original 3. So people like to pretend he never existed along with everything else.
Jesus. Yeah, so you've invested some time.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I knew that the elementals were going to be in the game because they're on the box art, and the box art got leaked. So I watched the trailer. I'm like, there better be Crunch in this game. I'm waiting for my Crunch. I turn on the trailer. There's no Crunch. There's no Crunch. They make fun of the fact that, oh no, there's no other Crash Bandicoot games, just the original 3, and there's no Crunch. They killed him. They murdered Crunch.
Either the murder of Crunch or no Crunch. No Crunch is pretty good too. You've made that point. That's
That'll probably
awful.
Now that we're putting them on YouTube again, I probably do need a shorter name than the murder of Crunch Bandicoot. So yeah, no Crunch. No Crunch is my issue. They killed him. They shot him dead just because he wasn't in your good PS1 platformers doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to exist. This is your chance to bring him into the light, to put him in a good game. But they just throw him away like he never existed at all. And it's a tragedy because Crunch did nothing wrong.
And I literally have never heard of anything you're talking about at all. So,
exactly.
I mean, think about how little it's in the zeitgeist of like, humanity.
But you know what? There's a very large Crash Bandicoot fan base out there. And I know some of them enjoy games like Crash Twinsanity, and even Crash of the Titans has a pretty solid fan base. And they know Crunch Bandicoot and Crash Nitro Kart. Everybody loves Crash Nitro Kart. They know who Crunch Bandicoot is. And they know that he's being erased from history. And we can't let it happen. We can't let Crunch be erased.
Can I vote for that, or how do I help?
How do you help? We gotta make a change.org petition. # justice for Crunch.
Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah, let me vote. All right, is it my turn? Can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think this is something that Andrew would probably appreciate a lot more than you will.
Okay.
And I don't know how to phrase the issues. I don't know how you phrase issues. You probably keep them short.
4 words or less is usually the goal.
Okay, so I'm going to say humaning, not humaning. It's going to be called not humaning. Does that make sense?
Okay, not humaning.
Not being a human, right? Because for like hundreds of thousands of years, maybe millions
Incorrect
of years.
Humaning.
Incorrect, anti-humaning. Maybe anti-humaning. People who like arbitrarily don't want to know basic things. And I'm not talking about like changing your tire, because obviously everyone can figure out how to do that with enough YouTube videos. I'm talking about like, and not necessarily like starting a fire, because starting a fire is hard, right? But I'm talking about like, I don't know, set up a tent right. Or like just in general, like plugging in the right cord to the right thing. Like I don't like the idea of people not wanting to be a part of humanity and like really wanting to be in the Matrix, right? Like really wanting to be in a situation where everything's
wanting
fixed.
To be in the Oculus Rift to become Goro.
Right. Right. Like unrealistic ideas, and maybe not unrealistic. Maybe that's where their grandchildren will be anyway. But I like to think that people, I mean, if you had the right tools, if you had some wood and maybe a lighter, you could probably get a fire going. And then maybe like, if you had a pan to work with, you could like put some meat that you had to work with over a fire and not like be able to eat it. I like to think that people can do basic human. And I really don't like the idea of people who are like, I don't know how to cook at all, or I don't know how to do anything. I can't plug anything in. I can't do anything. I can't fucking do anything
my
for
God.
myself.
I feel this so much, especially the cooking thing.
Yeah. Yes.
People who are like, I don't know how to cook.
Come on.
I don't know how to cook anything.
I can explain. Get something warm, put something else near it that you might want to eat eventually. It's going to be edible. Like, it's not that fucking hard. And there's always directions. In the basic directions in life, that's the beautiful thing about being a human right now. It's all easy, right? Like, it's all easy.
And people are stupid.
Still won't do it. Still won't do it. Is that it? Do you have more? Did I have more? I don't think I had any more. I think anti-humaning is what I want my issue to be called. Like, people who are just like, yeah, they're just like, no, I don't want to be human. I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. I don't know. Just do it. Just everything is so easy. Or like not using YouTube properly maybe would be a better issue. I don't know. I feel like life is so obvious and easy, and it's fun. You know, life is fun, and people miss out whining about. Yeah,
people miss out on the fun of life because they refuse to learn how to do basic human functions.
Basic things, right? Like, oh man, I can go to the store and like pick out a bunch of ingredients that I like, all of them, and I'm gonna like put it in a thing. Either I'm gonna sear the meat first and then add some, some onions or garlic, and then maybe tomatoes if I'm using those or something. Like, there's this easy like progression to cooking that's not that hard. And for millions of fucking years, people have been figuring this shit out, and people being like, "No, I don't cook." It's like, really? That's like one of the things that we know how to do as people. We like tasting things.
It's not that hard. You just slap a thing in a pan.
It's rewarding is the important thing, right? Like, starting a fire for the first time is fucking rewarding. That's humaning. That's being like, oh, I'm a human. I figured out how to fucking start fires. Monkeys don't do this shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
And people are just
cooking,
like, no,
cooking is the most rewarding thing in the world. If you cook something that tastes good and you eat it, you're like, I did this. I made this. This wasn't me.
Human. Like, you could stand on the top of a rock. You could be in that. You could be in the movie, like standing on top of the rock before spaceships like fade into you. You know, you could be like, I don't know, like, I am human. I am what we are. I am all things. Yeah, if you can cook,
I am the human man. I can cook. Look at this burger that I made.
Anti-humaning, and I don't know what they're trying to be. I think they're trying to be little space aliens with huge brains with no sexuality or color. I think people are going toward that these days, and it's like, oh gosh, I don't know. Facebook's real into people going that way.
Do you say no sexuality? Do you think the incel community lines up with this problem? Do you think people who can't get laid are the people who don't want to be human?
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not poor, so I meet a lot of girls that are younger, and I'm not trying to bang everybody or anything, but I meet a lot of girls that are very, very attractive, right? And the weirdest thing that I'm noticing with young, attractive girls these days is that they are either like non-practicing lesbians or only. I'm not kidding, dude. Like 20-something-year-old girls these days are very confused. Non-practicing lesbians or like very attracted to black men, but also non-practicing. So it's like, I think they're just all watching porn. I think most girls your age, dude, around your age, are also just watching porn and jerking off. I don't think anyone's hooking up anymore. I think it's gotten really fucking weird. I think your generation is what happened to Japan, dude. You guys are Japanning America. You guys need to get out there and get laid, man.
Yeah,
Holy fuck, America!
Yeah. For America, fuck each other for the American way.
Get laid for virginity and fuck for virginity and get laid for America. That's my my presidential campaign this year.
Yeah, vote Grant 2024.
Yeah. It's It's a bunch of nonsense, and me spending no money. Everything is canceled. Everything is canceled.
You just run on you win even though you like don't have any political opinions. You're just like, we all need to get laid, and you get voted in just for that.
Yeah. Prostitution's legal, guys, and also we can't afford
That's
any of this.
platform.
We can't afford any of this other shit we're doing. Yeah. We can't afford anything else we're doing, so everything else is cut. Prostitution's legal. Taxes are cut. We're just going to chill out. Well, no, we'll fund the fucking extra ration foods of a bunch of farmer subsidies are literally paying farmers, and I know this because I grew up in the Midwest originally, are paying farmers to grow mainly soy and rice and corn, mainly corn, but rice and soy, and store them. They store them in silos. There's like, if you drive through the Midwest, you see a bunch of silos. A bunch of the silos are never touched. And the reason they aren't touched and, sprayed for pests and whatnot and maintained is because we might have a famine. There might be, like in 6023 or something like that, a bunch of volcanoes went off at the same time, and the year 6023. And everything went dark, and it was documented all over the world. Everything just went dark for like a year and a half. It was all just dark, and everything died, and everyone almost starved to death. And the only reason they didn't was because like people in Egypt had shitloads of fucking stores of food. So that's the same thing we do now, because you never know when an asteroid's going to hit or a solar flare is going to burn out a bunch of shit. We have a bunch of fucking food stored up, and that's what our government subsidies pay for fucking corn farmers to do. That's what we're doing. We're not wasting our money in the way that people try to say that we are, with farmers specifically. Yeah. Everything else can go fuck itself. I don't think we need the postal service. I think Amazon has it nailed. I think we're good.
Exactly.
Man. Yeah. Go to private industry, billionaires, scientists, math guys, and just let them do it. Just let them do it. And otherwise, this is
just let the billionaires rule the world. Just let it happen.
It already does. It already does, right? And right now they're turning us against each other every 4 years. We have a Black Lives Movement or whatever. Like every like cyclically, these guys are fucking with us anyway. Let's just let them do it. They can't fuck us over that bad any more than they already are, right? And so I have Democracy 2.0 on the table for my presidential run this year. And a major part of it is that, yes, we turn all the federal government over to these people. Let the experts do what they do. Let the money guys figure out how to get lots and lots of money. But every 4 years, we can kill one. We all get to fucking vote. We all get to vote, and one of them dies. So they all know, like, oh shit, if I fuck up enough, if these people hate me enough.
It's like Survivor. Every 4 years we vote one of them off, but then they die.
That's like, fuck the president. There's no president. The president doesn't fucking matter. Get rid of him. Put a fucking scientist in there. Like, get guys
like Total Drama Island. They all gather around the campfire. Whichever one of you doesn't get a mushroom gets shot. Doesn't get a marshmallow gets shot.
Yeah, fuck those guys, man. And we don't have to vote. There will be a non-kill button. We don't have to vote to kill that guy. But if we all decide this one guy is fucking everything up, then we get rid of him.
I can't stop thinking like Total Drama Island style, like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, like just sweating as the last marshmallow is gonna go to one of them.
This is the future I offer you, America. Vote Grant 2024 or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's good. That's good visual. I gotta put that on my fucking posters, man. The two of them sweating over the last marshmallow. That's good imagery. That's brilliant.
Fucking Chris McClain.
All right, so my issue was not humaning or people
anti-humaning.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's just basic humaning, you know? We eat stuff.
Yeah.
We do stuff. Like, it's important to kind of know how to do that. Yeah. All right. Your issue. Your next issue. Let's move this along. I got a date later.
Oh, you got a date later, spicy.
Ooh, yes, I do.
My issue is cats.
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 Okay, so you're
That's
taking
my
it
next
back
issue.
to like when Egypt first were domesticating cats, and they were eating the mice that would have eaten their grain supplies, which is specifically what I was just talking about with the importance of society. Cats were an important part of that. They never got domesticated. Cats got used to us. And we got used to them. They never became domesticated. They're still like a middle finger all the time. They're the only animal that I respect.
They're little assholes, dude.
They live you. They live with you and don't give a shit about you. They can give a fuck.
I have a cat.
And if you
not by choice. I didn't go out and say, I'm going to get a cat today. A cat showed up at my backyard and looked at me with its cute little eyes. And I called my friend who had cats and said, you need to bring cat food for this cat. And then it just didn't leave. Okay, and now I have a cat.
So the difference between dogs and cats is like it took like 100,000 years of humans throwing out their scraps to puppy wolves for them to slowly become part of their families and eventually develop like facial expressions that mimicked human beings so we could like bond with them. And
I'd rather have a dog.
Yeah. But then cats were just like, I want that. And like, oh, don't I look cute? I'm purring. Fuck you. Give me that. Like there was never that, you know what I mean? There was never that full bond with cats like there was with dogs.
My cat was such a sweetheart for the first week.
Yeah.
And then like, once it imprinted itself into my household, it became a dickhead.
That's what they do. They're like, hey, I think I own this. I think you just gave me permission to take all your stuff and fuck with your stuff and knock your stuff off the counter. I mean, unless you're going to tell me otherwise. But you can teach them. You can teach them. If you deprive them of food and give them treats, you can teach them to like walk across wires and do all kinds of magical, ridiculous fucking tricks. Cats are smart, but they don't need to be.
And a lot of other cats that I've seen won't shut the fuck up. He's just running around the house. Meow, meow, meow. Look at me. I want food. And meow.
And you know, it's weird that cats don't do that in nature. Cats do that. Cats do that because you react. They do that to mimic your sound, like they do when they hear a bug and they're like, have you ever heard a cat do that? Like make some weird ass fucking sound trying to mimic a bug that they're trying to kill. Yeah, they mimic the sounds of people around them, and cats don't make those sounds, so they don't make those sounds. But when they're around you, it's like, and you're like, oh, what do you want, kitten? You cute little thing. You manipulative little son of a bitch. And then it just walks around going, meow, meow. I want in and out of every door. I want in and out of every door in your house right now, you stupid bitch. You're my bitch. And you cannot let a cat treat you like that. You got to grab it by the neck. And I'm not kidding, because mama cats grab them by the necks. You got to turn them upside down and wiggle them around. Wiggle them around while you're holding their neck until they relax completely. And their eyes kind of roll back in their head. You're not hurting them. You got to do this regularly until the cat realizes that you are more powerful and smarter than it is. And it works. Every cat I've ever had, I do this to them when they're kittens, young. You grab them by the neck, turn them upside down, wiggle them around, and they squiggle around a little bit, and then they just relax. Their eyes roll back in their head, and they're just like, I guess I'm being held by my mother. I've never been more comfortable. And then you're like, yeah, you little son of a bitch. I'm in control. And you put him down.
And the thing about my cat is he's not a kitten. He was a stray who showed up at my back door. This is an adult. This is a man who's like, hey, I don't need you. I could go walk around the neighborhood and get fed by many people, but I see that you're depressed and lonely, and you want a cute little animal in your life. So feed me and be my fucking slave.
You gotta kick this asshole out. He's gonna be fucking your mom. This guy is not someone you want around. This guy is an asshole.
You're paying rent to your cat now.
He's fine. He probably has some other homes that he goes to. He's fine. Fuck that cat. But
he doesn't leave. He's a cat. He just shows up. I don't want him to be gone either, because as much of a little asshole as he is, he's cute and I love him.
They are excellent manipulators. He's got inside your head. You're like, oh, maybe he should be fucking my mom. This guy needs to go. This guy's a manipulator. Nah, I fucking hate cats, man. I love cats, but I also totally hate them. I respect them.
I can't kick Steve out. I love my cat.
Oh,
Steve,
you already named him. It's too late
asshole. Now. Yeah. No, he's been around since around Thanksgiving was when I got him.
Yeah.
So he's in it for the long haul.
All right.
He's a little asshole who's like, feed me all the time. I want all of your food. I'm gonna and I'll only let you pet me for 10 minutes, and after that, I'm gonna bite the shit out of your hands. That's what my cat does. He's like, he'll purr at me. He'll be like, yes, I am enjoying being pet. Psych! My teeth are in your hand now.
Man, I want to punch a fucking cat in the face right now. I don't know. Your issue was cats, though, right?
Yes, my issue was cats.
Then yeah, I agree. Get the fuck rid of cats.
Just get dogs. Dogs are so much better. Dogs actually have love in their hearts. They aren't evil. They aren't fucking...
If cats were like a medium dog sized, if they were a little bit bigger, they would be wildcats or bobcats or whatever the fuck they're called. Panthers, basically, trying to kill you.
Exactly.
Cats any bigger than they are a danger to humanity. They're only cute and small because they're trying to kill small birds and not you. Any
big cats are scary. They're domestic cats that are big and they're scary. Even the domestic cats that are big scare me. My friend had a cat.
100% muscle.
My friend had a cat who was bigger than your average cat, and I was fucking terrified of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck cats.
Yeah, just get dogs. Dogs are better. Dogs are innocent little love balls, and cats are manipulating you for food.
Yeah.
All right, what's your last issue, Grant? Take us home.
Shit, I did not think of a second issue. My main one was okay, how about boxes?
Boxes? Okay. What's wrong with boxes, Grant?
No, I think that's a big solution. I was listening to solutions recently. So.
Yeah. I've been listening to solutions too. They're funny.
Oh man, I really don't have a lot of complaints with life recently. I would say I'm going to say people who are living in a box. I'm going to bring in boxes. I'm going to bring in boxes. People who are living in boxes. Because another thing that I've really noticed is I will mention things to people. You know, I meet a decent amount of 20-something-year-old girls that are very, very attractive. And besides being lesbians and non-practicing lesbians and non-practicing whatever, something I've noticed a lot is younger women especially being very, very into their small box. They're very, very interested in what they're doing and getting the feedback that they're getting, and they're not really getting a worldwide view. And then hashtags come along and movements come along. Every 4 years, there's a big MLB movement, and they get wrapped up in this stuff. And it's not part of their character. It's not who they are. It's not what they think about regularly. I know because I'm watching what they're doing and talking to them and stuff, but
yeah,
I'm seeing them being wrapped up in this stuff, and it's just this little box that they're in. And it's just stuff that's being fed to them, and they're reacting to and making a big deal about and promoting in their own way and perpetuating. and it has nothing to do with who they are as a person, right? Like they
Mhm.
can be really sweet, kind people that have, this small little world view or whatever, but yeah, I think that's what it is. People living in boxes, people's world views, being, and it's a lot of things, man. It's like Facebook. You go on Facebook and they're like, "Hey, everybody, have a big talk about race relations or something," right? Like they're like, "Oh, we're being super aggressive. You better come in here and talk about how you feel about stuff." But they don't want that. They want you to say specific things and share specific hashtags and like share specific memes and stuff. They don't want like an actual dialogue about anything. And then they can just like cut you off like 7 days, 30 days, whatever, just whatever they want to do. And they're just ending free speech there. And they have no obligation to do that whatsoever. Facebook has zero obligation to do that.
Facebook has zero obligation to destroy free speech, but they do it anyway.
Exactly, man. They have zero obligation to do it. They cannot get sued for anything that's said. And they can be like, yeah, I don't know, man. A lot of people say a lot of crazy shit on here. It's free fucking speech. It's fucking a free for all. But they're like, no, we need to get some interns involved. We need to make sure that nobody's saying anything that's bad.
Yeah,
and then
no mean words.
If you're the person deciding if something's bad or not, you're gonna go insane because there's too many voices. There's trillions of fucking voices, man, of different people having different ideas about different things at all times. And if you're being bombarded with that and trying to decide, what is politically correct after all. I was testing that recently and I got banned for 7 days, but it shouldn't be their problem. They should be able to just say, hey, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. So, all right. So I guess it's boxes, but it's more it's more people who have no business making a box for you, forcing you into a box that you don't even realize you're being forced into, and then just wasting your whole life, and you're going to fucking die alone because you're not even meeting anyone or like dating because you're just like so entrenched in the ideas that aren't leading you anywhere. That's my issue for this week. That's my second issue. It's a long one, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess this one was a little shy of an hour then, but it was good.
Oh, that's okay. Do we have voicemails to bring in or anything like that?
We have a voicemail line, but nobody uses it. So.
No. What's the voicemail line? Maybe no one knows what it is. Maybe you just say it right now. Say it all loud.
It's in the description. I don't have it.
All right. I don't have it either. So, all right. Well, it's very good to talk to you.
Let me see if I can find the number.
Yeah. Go for it. Do you even check it to see if there are messages?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
There's most of the time isn't.
I'm gonna leave messages. I'm gonna leave some messages from now on.
Of course, yeah. Our voicemail number is 727-487-1137.
1137.
That's
for
our
everybody
voice.
Who doesn't know it already. That's what it is.
Leave some voicemails for us. It's gonna be a good time.
Do it. Okay,
right,
so I'm gonna leave a voicemail right now.
Okay, leave a voicemail live on the show, and then you'll hear it again next week when we play the voicemail.
Hey, no, I'm leaving a voicemail right now. Does it sound like I'm on a phone?
What does it sound like?
Okay,
it does sound like it.
Hey, just calling in. I just wanted to say, biggest issue is way better than the biggest problem ever was. Chemistry between these co-hosts, is nailing it. Riely, big fan. It's gonna hang up now. Click. That was my hang up.
Good voicemail.
That was a good voicemail. You should edit that in. Maybe I'll do another one. I'll do another voicemail you can edit in. Hey, Ray, I thought I noticed you hadn't had Grant on for a while. I was really Well, then you could have Grant on again. And then you can say something about, oh, we have Grant on tonight, so that's convenient.
Wow,
You know?
look, guys, we have Grant on. Thank you for that voicemail, but he's here. Your prayers are answered.
Appreciate that call, everybody. All right, buddy. I don't know. Anything else? You want me to do something else? Jump around? You want me to vomit? No? I don't know.
Vomit on air? That sounds like
yeah,
fun.
I don't know. I'm gonna go find a fat guy and I'm gonna have him sweat a lot into some sweats. You know, I'll have him jump rope and do some sweat, and then I'm gonna wring out all the sweats, right, to get all the sweat that he sweated out. And then I'll just drink, and then I'll drink that. Do you want me to do that? And then I'll throw up all over.
I'll say I'm good.
Okay. All right, me too. Me too. I'm glad we decided that was not something either one of us want me to do because I don't want to do that.
Yep. You know, good episode, short and sweet. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Good episode, man. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Do you have anything to plug, Grant?
I do not, but I just want to thank you for having me on, and it was good talking to you more than anything else. Yeah, it's good to talk to you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Riely Tweets. You can go to twitch.tv/Riely Streams. I do some streams there. You can go listen to Pixels, Polygons, and Fun wherever podcasts are found. Recently had its 100th episode.
Ooh.
I've been doing that one for a long time. Pokemon Variety Hour on Spotify, Stitcher, or Apple Podcast. And if you're listening on the Big Guy Little Guy YouTube channel, please go check out the Riely Podcast Mega Feed, which is where I do all of my podcasts. And if you're listening on the Riely Podcast Mega Feed, please go check out the Big Guy Little Guy YouTube channel. Links are in the description for both.
That's quite a resume. Quite a resume. Do you listen to Who Are These Podcasts?
I don't listen to Who Are These Podcasts. I've listened to some episodes, but I don't listen regularly. They're going to cover one of my shows someday, and they're going to be like, "Stop doing podcasts. You do too many."
No, I don't think they will. They got their targets. They're not looking for new targets. All right, you can cut that out. Your plug was a good ending to the show, and I had fun.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right.
So my issues were no crunch and cats.
My issues were non-humaning and living in a stupid fucking box that somebody else made for you that you have to get out of. Everybody has to get it out of their stupid fucking box. Turn everything off. Go out and human for a while. Go walk on a nature trail and just take all your clothes off and just figure it out. Lots of humaning that's not being done. I guess my issues were terrible. I have a feeling that besides all of my votes that I'm going to make for these issues, I don't think any of my issues were that great. Go ahead. What is that? It?
Yep. Thank you all for listening. See you guys next time.